Welcome to Piggy the Storybook, one of the strangest Piggy fan games I've ever played. This fan game story is just all around the place. Okay, look at this chapter layout. We go from forest, to temple, to refinery. I don't think that's quite right, considering this fan game is just supposed to be Piggy but the storyline is remade a bit. After going through some of these chapters, I wouldn't say a bit is the right word. It was created on December 24th, 2022 by... This fan game has a total of 12 chapters. So we're gonna try to understand the story by going through these 3 random chapters I picked out, and also put them on the tier list. So, without further delay, let's start with Technical Lab, which is not a word in the dictionary. Inside this beautiful chapter we have some of my favorite mechanics, such as inconvenient metal walls, and it even has enemies with 0-degree vision. Continuing, we play as ourselves on a task to find the cure. We unlock a couple of doors until something happens once we use the red keycard. This really familiar section that I swear I've seen before somewhere. Also, this happens. Apparently in this fan game, turning on a radio will make an infected be able to control themselves. It doesn't make any sense. Moving on. After you use the wrench a couple times, you can enter this vent. Oh hey, guess what? Time for another strangely familiar section. After you unlock about 300 different doors, you'll be able to escape the map. You unlock the room with the cure, but for some reason, there's a dog guarding it. Once you get the cure, it's time for a mandatory chase sequence. After we backtrack to the start of the map, we can escape. I don't think anything could ruin it. God damn. Welcome to the world's first boss fight, where the enemy has patrol points for some reason. This makes the enemy be basically a walking punching bag while trying to find you. There are also these ghosts that do basically nothing. Once you defeat him with a water gun, you win and get the ending cutscene. We meet up with Pony outside the lab, which he for some reason has a military grade helicopter. We save Zizzy, okay, the end. But wait, did you know there's also a mystery ending you can get? To get this ending, simply use about 2 items and click these 3 insulin eyes. Once you do that, you'll be teleported and you'll be greeted with Portal Master Butt Red. Mr. Stitchy also shows up for some reason. Apparently he's like the main villain in this fan game. After that, we challenge them to a fight. During this confrontation, we fight the Red Portal Master by running away. Once you enter the portal, the Red Portal Master gives up and you are left with only Mr. Stitchy to defeat. He turned into this thing. Despite his looks, most of the time he will start to spin around randomly. And if the story was not bizarre enough, there are RB battle swords laying around. Why? I don't know. After unlocking about 3 doors, we come to the greatest conclusion that we can use our memories to defeat him. So what do we choose to defeat him? We of course choose the RB battle host to help us. After we defeat him, apparently the Red Portal Master switches sides. Stitchy removes the infection, happy ending. And that's the first chapter. If I was forced to describe the experience, it would be strange. This will get a solid C tier. And that's pretty much everything that map has to offer. Let's move on to Carnival Chaos. Welcome to a carnival where there's a gravestone in the middle of the map. The enemies here also have 0-degree vision. But first, this chapter is basically, what if we didn't leave Bunny at the metro? Cause she's right there. We play as ourselves, again. As you progress through the chapter, you may immediately notice the out-of-place gravestone. Every couple of seconds, a Zompiggy will spawn in. The Zompiggy acts as a normal bot until Bunny decides to actually start moving and help. It also has the loudest footsteps in the world. Anyway, to actually start the game, you need to unlock this green door. Clowny spawns in and starts to chase you. All you have to do is enter the room. Look at that, he stops moving. After that, he teleports away. He also has this really cool mechanic where he can teleport behind you randomly if he's chasing you for a long time. Such a fun mechanic. There's also this event with the Ferris wheel, which I thought was pretty cool. After you unlock the exit, oh no! Zompiggy blocks the path and it's time for a mandatory boss fight. Also, Bunny apparently just goes on a break, which is a nice way of saying deal with it yourself. The boss fight ends after 10 seconds of you getting the one weapon you need to defeat Zompiggy. Bunny then goes to help you as if she totally did not just leave you alone 3 seconds earlier. Also like this little effect where the lights switch to green. That was pretty cool. We defeat Zompiggy. After we defeat Zompiggy, we enter the room to confront Mr. P, but instead we find these 3. Mimi is just kind of there. She has basically nothing to the cutscene. She says 2 lines of dialogue in total. Anyway, the game goes back to the save place and the storyline is never expanded on ever again. Despite what the last chapter had, I could actually understand this chapter's story, so I would call it an improvement. Solid A tier, simply because of the lights. Anyway, let's move on to the last chapter for today. Outpost Echo. This chapter is directly a prequel to the Technical Lab. Despite it being 8 chapters apart. In the starting cutscene, Mimi goes to meet up with Giraffe and we alone enter the outpost. Immediately you may notice there are actual military survivors. I wonder how they can help. Yes, the survivors would rather fire at you for trespassing rather than the obvious infected. Speaking of infected, The main bot of this chapter is Fergus. He's kind of like any other bot, although he does this really annoying orange effect on your screen when he spots you. However, don't worry, as just a set of stairs will make him unable to do anything. Also, something I thought was pretty funny is that the artillery cannon is not there, and instead it's just a singular piece of dynamite. Anyway, we unlock a couple more doors, step into traps that stun you for way too long and also deal damage. Eventually you unlock the elevator. Guess what time it is? Time for another boss fight. We definitely did not have those for a while. This boss has a total of 3 attacks, all 3 of them being very useless. We have teleportation, which requires you to move 2 steps forward to dodge, and the sprint, which basically does the same thing. And for the last attack, he will fire his weapon at you, which you can pretty easily avoid because that's totally how weapons work. After throwing 5 rocks at him, you win and get the ending cutscene. We notified the crew that we found a way in. Pony randomly spots a helicopter that was definitely there in the starting cutscene, so we go with Willow into the lab. And then there's Tigre. The entrance gets blocked off, and that's what brings us back to Tactic Lab. What an interesting story it has been. We went from using the RB battle host to help us defeat the true evil to throwing rocks at an army dude. This chapter we get a solid B tier. Anyway, that's going to be overall everything. This fan game doesn't have a whole lot to offer outside of this. Was this a huge waste of time? Probably. I'll definitely be looking forward to the last chapter. Coming never. So, should you play this game? I wouldn't really recommend this game to anyone, but you can play it. If not for the bizarre story, then I don't know what else. Anyway, so I was going to end the video right here, but I remembered that this fan game also has quests. Each chapter has one actually. This one, instead of Outpost Echo, kind of annoyed me though. You will find these couple computers that you can hack. Once you hack all of them, you get a prompt asking you to take keycards from the military survivors. After all of that, you can hack the world's biggest laptop. You get this annoying minigame. After you complete it, it ruins all of your progress by teleporting you straight to the roleplay without any option to not go into the roleplay. Anyway, there's also this one in Tactic Lab for some reason. And also the mystery ending in Tactic Lab is apparently considered a quest. Anyway, I'm the Generic Penguin, and that was Piggy the Storybook. Thanks for watching.